Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we are doing stuff with mushrooms. My husband came home last night with 30 pounds of mushrooms, so we are canning up a bunch of different soups that have mushrooms in it. These were big portobellos, and I've already I've already chopped 15 pounds. And so I have two soups that I'm going to be filming for you and canning. So let's get started. This one, we're going to start with chicken. It's going to be like a chicken a la king, but without the peas and without the cream, because we'll add those when we open up the jar. This would also be a good substitute for a cream of chicken soup if you wanted to use it in a recipe like that. So first we have to cook our chicken, and I'm going to do it in the crock pot because I have 4 pounds of chicken that I want to get done all at once. So in the bottom here I have 2 onions, 2 carrots, and 2 ribs of celery, just to give some aromatics to the chicken. We're not going to go too crazy on the seasonings because we are going to be putting it in soup, and the soup's going to be seasoned. But doing the chicken this way kind of ensures that it's going to have flavor. It's not going to be dried out if you were to do it in the oven, and it's going to be delicious is what it's going to be. I'm going to put this on high, and it's going to go until everything is just done. We don't want it to be too done, because then we'll have to worry about it falling apart in the canning process. I want it to keep some of its texture. So we're going to be careful to just do it until it's done. So there's salt. And pepper. Okay, so it's salt and peppered. I am going to add some garlic powder. I'm putting garlic cloves in my soup, but I do want the chicken to have just a little bit, not a lot, of chicken, or can't think of my words, garlic seasoning. And now we just want to add water. I'm going to do this more like a poaching, and we're going to use the stock for our soup as well. So since chicken itself doesn't give off, or chicken breast, when it's boneless and skinless, it doesn't give off a lot of juices. I want to make sure to give this plenty of juice to work with. Perfect. So I didn't cover them completely. They're about halfway submerged, and that's perfect. So I'm going to get the lid on, again on high, just until your chicken is done. Okay, so our chicken is done, and it's just going to sit in the crock pot until I get this started. I have my big 20-quart stock pot because I want a lot of soup out of this. And the first thing I'm going to put down, I have some olive oil that's just heating up, and I have about 5 pounds of mushrooms that I'm going to put in first. Yep, I'll put in 5. This is going to make a lot of soup, but it's going to be so good to have. And these were just portobellos that I just chopped pretty evenly. And I like to do my mushrooms first because they render out a lot of water, and I don't want them to boil and get that slimy-ish texture. I want them to really caramelize a bit. You could skip this step and just dump everything in and put the broth in, but this just gives it an extra layer of flavor. So I have this that's going to go first, and then in this bowl I have a pound of carrots, and I have 3 onions, just yellow onions, that I've also diced up, and then I have about 8 cloves of garlic. So once this starts to brown up a little, I'll go ahead and add the rest. So I went ahead and added in the rest of my vegetables, including the 8 cloves of garlic and 2 ribs of celery. I forgot to add or chop the celery earlier. but I still haven't added any salt or pepper, and you can see all that liquid down in the bottom. That's just from my mushrooms, so that is why I don't add salt and why I also add the mushrooms first. So everything is starting to get a nice brown on it, and I'm going to go ahead and add in 3 bay leaves and 2 little jars of pimentos. And I'm just going to let this cook a little longer just to get rid of some of that liquid down in the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and add our seasonings, broth, and a little bit of wine. Okay, so let this go for about 10 minutes more. Everything is really starting to kind of soften a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add about a cup of dry white wine. And that just gives it a little background flavor. You don't have to add it, but I really, really enjoy cooking with alcohol. It gives a layer of flavor that regular broth just does not have. So, to this, oh, and here's my chicken. It's just waiting. I'm not going to put it back in until we're ready to can. We're going to go ahead and add our salt and pepper. And some pepper. Oh, it smells so good. Alright, now let's put our broth in and see how much more broth we need to add. Oh, we're going to need a lot more liquid. Alright, I'm going to go get some of my turkey stock and I'll be back. This took about 30 minutes to come up to a boil. I added 4 more quarts of chicken broth, well, turkey broth, but same thing, and let it come up. We don't have to cook it to where the vegetables are all the way cooked through because they're going to be canned, so they're going to be soft by the time we're done. Now, I have cubed up half my chicken, and I'm going to add that in and see if I need to add the other 2 pounds, because if not, I have another recipe with mushrooms that I'm going to use them in, because I just finished processing or chopping my last 15 pounds of mushrooms. Alright, let's see. I think that should be good. Okay, so first, let's fish out our bay leaves, because they have done their job. I smell them, and they're marvelous. See if I can, there's 2. Now, the way we are going to check our seasonings, since this is going to be a cream soup, once it comes out of the jar, and I think I'll do a video showing how I do that. There's 3. Because like I said, this is going to be like chicken a la king. So when I open up a jar, I'm going to add a slurry of heavy cream and some flour to thicken it up, and I'm also going to add in frozen peas. You could add the frozen peas in at this point before you can it. I would add a whole bag for the amount that I have, but I want the peas to have a little bite, so I'm not going to add them in until I open up the jar, and then just add a few in when I'm heating it through. But because it's going to be a cream soup, you want to taste it with some cream, because the cream changes the, I'm trying to find something. The cream changes the salt and other flavors. So let me get oh, that's pretty amazing. That is pretty delicious. I am going to add a little bit more salt. Make sure you're using a non-iodized salt. I'm going to add a little more pepper. And then I'm also going to add some red pepper flakes. Just a little bit, not a lot. I really like the flavor, and that small amount in this whole big pot is not going to make it spicy. And I'm also going to add a little parsley. Just because. And this will be great when it's cold, like today. I can just open up a jar, and in 10 minutes, I'll have dinner. And my favorite way is to serve this over biscuits. So I'll probably will do a video just so I can show you how delicious this is. So at this point it's done. I'm going to take this off the burner, put my canner on, get my jars ready, and we're going to can this up and see how much we get. Alright, let's get this canned up. So I'm going to do pints because I will use this not only as a dinner, but I'll also use it as like a cream of chicken soup or casseroles or other dishes. So pint is a better size for me. But you could do quarts, but you would need to do it for 90 minutes. Pints are 75 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure for my altitude. Now I have hot water sitting in them. You want to make sure your jars are hot because you're putting hot soup in them. And you definitely don't want a cold jar and then pour hot soup in because you'll break your jar. And I also have vinegar to wipe the rim. You can use water, but I use vinegar when I water bath, so I use vinegar when I pressure can. And then I have my lids. So, stir up your soup. And also, I went ahead and added the other 2 pounds of chicken. I figured why not. I realized the recipe I wanted to use them for, you needed raw chicken, so wouldn't have been able to do it. Now, you want 1 inch of head space. And if you think it's too chunky, remember we're adding cream to it whenever we open this back up. So it's not going to be as chunky as it is. It'll be more soup. Oh, it smells so good though. So good. And your inch of headspace is right here. That little lip is your inch. Okay. So now, wipe the rim of your jar. And this is also your last chance to check to make sure there's no nicks. If there's nicks, your jar won't seal right. Lids, old jars, as I have new jars. So I'm always checking to make sure they don't need retired. There's our lids, and I don't know where I put the rings. There's rings. Get your rings fingertip tight, and in. And into the canner these will go. And here are beautiful jars. They will go into the canner to await the others, and let's see how many of these we can get out of this huge pot of soup. Alright guys, so this went for the 75 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure for my altitude. Let it come off of pressure naturally. Don't rush. And now it's time to get these out of the canner. I ended up getting a full canner load, so 16 pints. Now, let me show you so you can see. Can you hear that? I have a sizzling one. So I'm just gonna let them chill here for a second, because you can see they're hot, hot, hot. boiling in their jars. If you hear one sizzling like that, or if you see a bowed lid, just leave it where it is. And since I don't know which one is hissing at me, I'm not going to bother any of them. None of them are Tadler lids, so I don't have to worry about it. So, I will end this video here with my 16 pints. I hope you enjoyed this video and try it for yourself. You can, of course, reduce this recipe down greatly and just make a big pot of soup for a couple days. Or you can do like I did and have it on your shelf for future use. So, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.